And I think we should be on there now. Yeah, we're live. Okay. Just started and good. Set up my screen, let everybody kind of file in. Wait for people to start saying stuff. How are you doing today, Ian?
Oh,
Just the stuffs.
Yeah. How about you, baby boy?
Okay. Woke up and I like double booked something today, which I was like horrified about because I was supposed to do the thing with Adam Strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was supposed to do there was like a little, I don't know if it's an interview. It's like an interview thingy that I was supposed to do with somebody, but I like double booked it. And I'm like, fuck. So,
It happens.
Yeah, I had to grovel a little bit to the other people and say I'd make it up to them. So I have to reschedule that at some point, but we've got a couple people sort of filing in now.
Was it like a podcast or like
this? So this book right here is like a book of like older gay guys. And I guess the people who made it, they have like a little documentary coming out about it. And so they wanted to ask us some questions about it, about like, I don't know, I guess what it means to us and stuff like that. So he's doing something for that. Let me go ahead and retweet this link.
Look at you doing a thing.
Wow.
So in demand, Zachary.
I know, right? Just so famous.
Hey, I got recognized today because of you. So
that is so crazy.
that'll be my claim to fame. The guy that does stuff with Zach.
That's so weird. I wish I would have gotten his name, but I don't know. What are you drinking tonight? Have you finished yet? Or you know what? I'm gonna send you another pack of it just so you just never finish. You're just perpetually stuck in.
It's cheap.
Fireball.
What else am I gonna drink? It's cheap and I like it.
Yeah, it doesn't taste bad. It tastes pretty good. It tastes like those cinnamon candies.
Yeah. It's like a cinnamon candy that like maybe if you ate like a little bit too many at once.
Yeah. Okay. Tweeted it.
Did you see I did a live on Sunday?
I think was it Sunday you did it?
Mm-hmm.
Goodness, all of my days are going together. I swear that was like today or yesterday.
Nope, it was Sunday.
Oh, yesterday was Sunday. Yeah, so it was yesterday. Okay. Yes, I did see it.
It was fun. I was, as always, I'm like super nervous doing one of those without you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was Loki, right? So there was a lot to talk about. I don't know. Overall, what do you think about Loki? Just you liked it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I felt the same. I probably felt the same way you did, honestly. This is the first time, like, people always give Marvel the critique of like, oh, they're just like, this thing is just there to set up the next thing, and I don't always think that's true, but this was like 100% that this time, and that really bothered me. Just like that ending wasn't an ending. It was like, and I'm not a fan of a cliffhanger in general, but
it was just weird. I don't know. I mean, you guys talked enough about it, but I don't know. Overall, it was like it had like a really strong start, and then kind of just like it was like way too slow from the middle onward to the end, and then the big long like 20-minute talking scene that they had in the middle of like the final episode was just too much. I did not like it.
That didn't even bother me. I just didn't like. I was never buying him and Sylvie, and yeah, but like, so like I would be fine with the talking, but the only action was between the two of them, which felt like, oh, we've already done this like 85 times already in 6 episodes. Do we need to have the big fight be like them fighting again?
Yeah, I feel that. Well, it's over. I mean, I guess which one's up next?
What If? And I'm so excited not to have to cover Marvel show.
Are you not covering that one?
No.
Oh my goodness.
It's a cartoon and it would be impossible to do covers for.
Oh, fair. Well, we've got enough people in here. Thank you guys so much for checking into My Bloody Judy. I guess we got to start with the regular intro. Howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
I thought you were telling me I'd already like frozen.
No. I was just mouthing what you were saying.
flipping the table. Yes, and apparently we both went in theme dress today. We don't even have to coordinate. You've got a witch shirt on here because we're going to be talking about some witches today, and I am very Puritan. I'm dressed as a Puritan or whatever they're supposed to be. Very
that would make sense if we were in that time, that you would be the Puritan dude and I'd be the fucking witch that would be hung.
No, I would kill you. I don't know. What did we? So from this point forward, we're going to be doing spoilers for Fear Street 1666. I keep wanting to say 1966, but 1666.
I've said 1966 a bunch of times when I said it out loud.
What? I already kind of see. I try to ignore you a little bit whenever you text me about these things because I want to like geek out on here.
Rude.
But then I know you loved it, and so I gave you. I told you I loved it too. But I want to hear everything you loved about it because I really did like this one. I thought it was
okay.
So
wait a
good.
minute. Why does my lighting look so blown out today? It's exactly the same as it always is. I feel like I look super blown out.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're seeing.
I feel like I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I look like.
Did you touch the heart of the cave? Because you're hallucinating. I think you look fine.
Like, look, see, I just moved and then it got blown. I don't know what I'm doing differently. That it's. No, when I turn that off, sometimes it affects my speaker. Oops. Now my. Oh, I hate when that happens. Is it the color? All right. Well, anyway.
What are you trying to do right now?
I'm trying to fix, like, I'm thinking maybe it's the color on my one ring light can be colors and I usually keep it red, but I made it green. I think maybe that's what was bothering me.
Fair.
Anyway, sorry. Yes.
Parrot. Yeah.
I really loved it. At first I didn't think I was going to love this one because like I am a hard sell. I'm a very hard sell on like actors when they're clearly in wigs and like it's a flashback and like got a lot of like costumes going on. I'm like such a hard sell on that. And at first I was like, this is kind of boring. These accents are a little silly. But like 45 minutes in, I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I don't care about the wacky accents or the stupid wigs. And I was actually glad that one was only like an hour. And then the other hour and like whatever time was the other one.
They even had their own like second sort of like title card for the, it was 1994. Which
I thought was a great idea.
I liked that. I did too.
Because I mean, if you think about it, like 78 still had a little bit of, I mean, only at like the tail end or whatever in the beginning, but like we still did get the kids going to see Jillian Jacobs and like her narrating everything. So it was like, okay, like I knew we would go back to them, but I didn't expect it to be like an hour-long movie of going back to them. And I don't know, I just thought it's so weird because you and I, like, we had a lot of critiques of the first one, but we kept saying like, no, we liked it. And I feel like retroactively, these two have made that one seem worse, right? Because we can see how good they can do.
I think I still stick by my reasoning and my excuse for the first one not being the best out of the three is just it seemed like there was it seemed like they had the story fleshed out for themselves, but they like were kind of struggling to set the whole thing up. And that's what the first one just felt like to me. But like, and they were trying to set up the romance and like these character relations and like they didn't, do it 100%. But I think this one was like, I think we said in the last live that we did that. I'm not a big fan of like characters coming back in like a flashback scene or something as like other characters are like reincarnated, whatever it's supposed to be. And so I was nervous about that, but it didn't even bother me this time. And the accent didn't bother me all that much either. I actually kind of liked that everybody was committing to it. Like it felt, I mean, it wasn't, if you're a history buff, this was not the movie to watch for you. But it was fun that everybody seemed to be having fun and kind of leaning into the campness of the whole thing, you know
what? And it fucking worked on me when it was all the friends burying her. I cried. I was like, fuck, these are the friends that like died previously, but now they're the ones burying her, even though that's not what it was, but like, it's still like face wise, that's what it was. So like that made me like emotional and it hit the emotion. It's so weird because, I feel like both of us felt a little like on the romance in part one and even on those main characters, but like by part 3, I was like, yeah, fuck up this town, Seraphir. You're right. Like all of them deserve your vengeance, even though it actually wasn't her. And I didn't find her Dina that dynamic in the first one, but I loved her by the end of this one. Like I was like rooting for her and her girlfriend and shit.
Yeah, I the only thing I didn't like was that it was I felt like it was kind of a cop. I mean, I get why they did it because they had to set up the good families like the bad ones, and like I already knew that was coming somehow, but I did expect her to be a witch. I thought she was literally going to go to the book, make a deal, cut off her hand, and like, start this curse.
Well, I mean, she kind of was a witch.
Kind of, but
cursed
like
him.
It was also like she cursed him just at the very end. Like I wanted her to go full like witch. I wanted her to just really embrace the devil and like, all of that, because this town was turning on her and she had like, 0.7 seconds before they were going to come and grab her. And so I just wanted her to do that. Whenever she went down to that basement though, in Good's house, I was like, this fucking Seraphir's house. It's not Seraphir's house. It's actually the Good house. So
but it also made sense with all the issues we had with plot holes about like, why the fuck is it like their noses were bleeding when they were, and like, why, wouldn't that person be cursed too? Like, I appreciate
it's still a lot to think about though. Like it's still a lot.
But it made way more sense that it was like the Good family always like giving up a soul. And because especially in part 2, which we both like equally loved, him being cursed made no sense. Like they were in that area and they didn't get like turned into like murderous whatever. And then I liked that retroactively. I was like, oh no, that does make sense now, because the only way for that to happen was for your name to be put up there and the dude had to do it. And I didn't even, you did anticipate that he was, I didn't anticipate him being the bad guy. I thought he was just going to be like the guy in the horror movie who never believes that like monsters are real till he's murdered. Like I thought he was going to be one of the characters that died in the third one, like in like being like, no, I'm going to help you guys, but like monsters aren't real. And then his head gets chopped off. That's what I thought he would be.
I still found it really weird because I did expect it, because I think the Goods were in the books. I'm pretty sure the Goods were in the books. And it was the Goods and the Fears. So I like kind of anticipated him being a baddie, but some things didn't make sense to me. And so I have questions here, just in case I missed it and you picked it up. So one, in the second book, he's so cute and he wasn't even in this one. I was very upset. He should have just like, okay, we'll move on. But like, so why was he warning Ziggy in the first one? Why was he giving her a note saying it's starting again? And then in the second one, why did he even bring Ziggy back to life? Like, I don't get it.
He did like her. That's what I got. Like, he actually had a crush on her. You can still like be a murderer and have a crush on someone, right?
It just seems like a lot to go through, considering you understand what the curse is and you understand that the Shady Siders are like the cursed ones. And like, I don't know. That part was like confusing for me, but I mean,
and that's why he was able to bring her back to life when we were like, that doesn't make sense, but it's because of like his deal with the devil was the reason he was able to bring her back to life.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a pass.
I did notice earlier on Twitter, Louis Peitzman, who loves horror, who I've like quoted his Halloween article, he did tweet, wait, so with all that power, he used it to become sheriff of a small town?
I know.
Which I didn't even think about that, but I was like, oh, that is true. Like, that's what he's doing with it.
Yeah, it's
not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, maybe it goes deeper than that too. Maybe there's just a lot of like, I mean, we know guys that find a lot of power in, being a police officer or a sheriff or something like that. And so maybe it's like he's got a taste of this power doing this devil worship, and it also like extends that power for him into the town or something like that. But I mean, I thought it was really interesting that, the whole Sunnyvale thing and the Shady Side, and that Shady Side was really cursed because of the Goods, right?
Yeah, that was a question I actually had.
Okay.
Was it like, so when Shady Side's curse was lifted, it went to Sunnyvale? Is that why that car got hit by the fucking trash truck again?
I feel like it was more balanced, is what it was. It like restored some balance there. I kind of wish they would have left it a little bit more open-ended, because they're going to do more. Like, this shit is trending. They're going to do another one next summer. I guarantee it. And so it'd be interesting to see kind of where they go with that. Because
but I think it's like,
yeah.
I mean, not fully, but it's almost like Buffy in the fact that like it's basically they're on a hellmouth. Like they could have like the thing I like is that with leaving it this story closed, but like I don't know, the town's still there, and we saw someone grab the book. We can do other stories in the Fear Street saga that don't have to, have Ziggy or have Dina or whatever. We can like meet new characters. And it wouldn't all have to be like a trilogy or a series. It could be like a one-off movie, kind of like the books,
Yeah.
right?
I saw somebody mention that they'd like to see all the serial killers get their own like independent episodes, and I think that would be cool. I still would like to see other books kind of come to life, like the first Evil books or the second Evil, third Evil. It's all about cheerleaders, and so I really want to see fucking evil cheerleaders. It's just something we haven't gotten in so long. I can't even remember the last time we got it. It was like I don't think like there's ever been like a full on balls to the wall like evil cheerleader movie. That I can think of. So I'd really like to see that. Colin mentioned one book. Oh shit. And I wrote it down, but I can't remember it now. I don't know. Colin mentioned one that I'd read also, and I'd like to see that one as well. But like, there's just so much they can do here. Like, it's just so fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And like, there's just a lot of like, R.L. Stein stories they can give us. And so I enjoy all of it. Yeah.
God, I keep thinking of how blown out I look. I don't know why I'm yeah, no, I mean, I would just be like totally fine with the next ones being like one-offs and like not related, but like they could be like tangentially related. Or I would be okay with like I mean, you mentioned it, I think in the second one you were saying how the woman who was the camp nurse daughter, like her story was pretty interesting. Like that would be cool. I found the like infant, the like toddler in the baby mask with the bat the scariest.
That's creepy.
Like when he was like in the mall just like smacking it on the ground standing there, I was like, ugh, he's gonna call me the F word while he bashes my brains in.
I agree. And you know what they could do is like it really doesn't have to be related. Like it can be set in the same town, all the characters still exist, and maybe we get like a flash of like, I don't know, Dina driving by or something, but really don't even acknowledge all of that. Like just give us a whole new story and let us follow these new characters throughout their story, because I mean, even in the first movie, it was just these teens pretty isolated from everybody else anyway. We didn't see a whole lot of other people. They could totally do that. They don't have to like spend too much time worrying about how they're going to connect it and make everything canonical. Like it would just be cool. I did. You said something about this kind of being like the Hellmouth. I totally got Hellmouth vibes in this one. I was like, this is like what we should have got, like some sort of Hellmouth origin story in Buffy like this, right? It's like the Hellmouth was like living actually under there or something. Show us how the Hellmouth would be living or how it would be operating. Because I think the whole idea of having that big, and I just call it the heart, that big heart in the cave is just like, it was so good. It was so good. I loved that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I kind of now I like your idea though. I like seeing those other killers. I mean, the only problem with that is that we have limited killers because it has to be the ones that the goods cursed. So like we do have like a limited thing. And I almost feel like just give me new killers, just like whoever that other person is that grabbed the book at the end. I mean, that was very like tag at the end of a horror movie, right? But they could go like someone who's in, Sunnyvale grabbed that book, or someone in Shadyside, and like, all right. And like you said, like we could have it. They mentioned, since the sheriff was murdered last year, blah, blah, whatever, like just to like make it connect. But other than that, just have it be almost like Grady Hendrix books,
that's what I like. That's what I was thinking is like the best friends or the Southern book. It's a horrible name. I'm sorry, Grady Hendrix, but I can never remember it. The Southern Ladies, a book club killing vampires is what I think of it. That because like in the beginning of that one, they mentioned best friends exorcism, right? And so I like that idea that it's kind of like it's all in the same world and like these things happen, but really like this trilogy was about the end of like the good line, right? Or like the ending the good curse, but that doesn't mean like this all of this stuff, this is land is like all Satan worship now. Like it could, it's been years and years and years of Satan worship. Like there's got to be a bunch of other shit going on around here that don't have to do with the goods.
like there's been like tons of people murdered in the town. So
yes, like there's a
yeah.
lot of just stuff that's been opened up and created, and like who's to say even the that who's to say that this whole thing with Sarah Fear really even started everything? Like it could have already been
Right.
started because I don't know. Like I mean, Good was already on a piece of land that wasn't working for him, and that's why he turned to devil worship. So like, isn't his land working?
Oh, did you freeze? Oh, you froze. I mean, I have a little bit of a drink and
We're back.
you're back.
Okay. Yeah. It would be cool to see some isolated stories. I really like, I'm gonna hammer it in. I want the fucking cheerleaders, man. I think that's the one I want to read. I think I'm probably gonna go read that trilogy. You should read it too, and we can read it together.
Okay. Listen, Rude, I texted you those books I was going to buy you, and you were like, no, thank you.
Really disappointed. I was really disappointed when I saw them. I didn't realize that they've changed the covers and made them updated covers. Why don't I just leave the covers? They're vintage covers.
You do that with
vintage,
all books.
But vintage is in now. Like that would be in. Just bring it back.
Yeah, but if there's one thing I've learned, especially over the last few years, is that companies seem to undersell the idea that books will sell if there's a movie. Because those were just books we already had. Like those were the Fear Street books we had in the store, like already. They didn't come in for Netflix. They didn't say Netflix on them. Just like when WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier or Loki came out, we literally got nothing new for any of those things, but would sell out of everything. And then it'd be like, nope, there's not even any comics left of like what we had.
Yeah. Huh. Does this did this whole thing kind of I don't know, light a little bit more of a fire under your ass to like get back to writing your horror stuff?
It did. Yes, it did.
Did it? It's like got my horror wheels turning. Like I want to make something that's a little bit horrified.
That was one of my goals for today that I did not make. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go back to my horror book because now I want to, with like reading Final Girls support group and like, you know, I feel like we read like a couple of good horror books over the last like year. And yeah, because I do feel like prior to like a few years ago, there weren't like, aside from Stephen King, there wasn't a lot of like focus on horror books, and it was harder to find good horror books. Like I had read a lot of ones that I'd be like, that was fine.
Yeah. Let's go through some of these comments a little bit. So I did look on eBay to see if I could snag that trilogy, and I was like, I'll pay like $40 for it, but it's being auctioned, so they're gonna go for sky high. I just have to wait till everything dies down, I guess.
Well, if you can find me an ISBN number, I can look up an ISBN number for you at work. Or like a full title of the Cheerleader series.
I think it's just called The First Evil. Like the second book's called The Second Evil, Third Evil. Like R.L. Stine didn't get too complicated with it. I would love to see them redo like Welcome to Dead House, though. That's Goosebumps, though. I mean, they could do Goosebumps too. They could start doing Goosebumps for this too. That'd be cool.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter, like, right?
Well, I still want this next summer to be Fear Street. I think Fear Street should be summers. I think that would be so cool because it felt like an event, didn't it? It was like 3 weeks, 3 movies in a row. It just felt nice. Like we haven't had an event like that in a while. Okay, let's see. What are y'all thinking about this? So many different print runs. Very true. They're old books, so many different prints. Satan's Cheerleaders is a 1977 American comedy horror film. Yeah, maybe I'll have to check that one out. See, I like this didn't lean too heavy into like comedy though. They had their comedic moments, so they took themselves like serious enough with the horror elements of it.
Well, it did feel a little Scream meets Stranger Things, but just like very bloody. But I don't say that as a complaint, but I do think the writing was very like, especially the final act in the mall. I was like, this feels like Stranger Things, but like they might be murdered and get their body parts chopped off.
Well, I thought it was really so like what I really appreciated about it is that they had their story locked down. Like, I mean, and obviously they planned on having 3 movies come out
Right.
back to back to back, but like it felt like they had their story fleshed out. Even though it was a little confusing to follow sometimes, they knew where they were going, and I felt like I knew where they were going.
Yeah.
What do you think about the scene of like all the kids in the damn church?
That scene was brutal.
Wasn't it? I was like, and at first I was looking at them all and I was like, are these all the ones who died throughout the series? Because I thought that's what it was going to be. Is like they were all like marked or something. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Because her brother never died in the.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought that part was brutal, and I mean, I know that good was supposed to be evil, right? But I thought, I don't know, his reaction in that moment felt real. Where I do feel like maybe he didn't realize how brutal it'd be, but then just kind of was like, all right, whatever, right? Like when he killed the preacher, I think he was genuinely like, oh fuck. Like it's almost like a monkey's paw wish, right? Where it's like, I wish I could be a billionaire. And then a bunch of children's eyes are ripped out. So you're like, oh, oops, I did that. But then he was like, I did it. But also, so what? Who cares?
Yeah, for sure. It was. Ever since we did conversations with dead people, I've been very into like the monkey paw story, and I'd heard it before. I just I don't know. I'd never really explored how many times that kind of thing has been used, and so like I'm obsessed with like all of the content that's been based off of that now. Thank you, Michael Verratti.
Say, look at me bringing up a thing.
Let's see. So many vintage Goosebumps books. If anybody has the first evil trilogy of Fear Street, send that shit my way. If you don't,
I feel like Zach, if you did a YouTube video asking, you should do like a 5-minute video real quick to just you being
I'd feel bad. I'd feel bad. I need to go check my PO box. I haven't been over there in a while.
Speaking of which, I'm going to tell you when exactly to check your ring for the delivery of what I sent you, because I even have a time stamp.
Is it okay? So it's not here then yet.
No, they said that it was delivered, and they have a time that it was delivered.
Okay. Yeah, it might be. I mean, it might have gotten delivered today in the mailbox. So I'll have to go check that right after we check. Right. But like, yeah, we don't have any deliveries on the ring. So I went through them yesterday. Let's see. I don't know.
Did you get emotional at all when they hanged her?
I have no feelings, so no, but I could see where the emotion was supposed to come in. I appreciated it, yes. And then I saw your tweet a little bit later that, or maybe it was before that I watched it actually, that you were crying like halfway through or something. And so like when we were watching it, I pinpointed where I probably thought you were crying.
I'm sure you were right.
Yeah, it was good though. I liked it. I did like it. I don't know. It was like they really went there with all of like the gruesome imagery, like her hanging and her eyes like looking up. Like I thought that was like crazy because I still think of it like the kissing booth.
You keep going back to kissing booth.
It's just a Netflix show.
Movie I've never seen.
I know I don't think I've ever seen it either, Ian, but like it just like that's what Netflix teen movies feel like to me. It's just the kissing booth. Now
you sound like one of those. I will have a story for you later, but someone who would be like, oh, you worked at BuzzFeed? Ew, I would never work there. And it's like, shut the
fuck up. I'd love for Fear Street to be a summer event. Classic Scream Queens. Yes. Somehow they hanged her and she had her hand cut off. Didn't happen. Yeah. I was like, it was fun connecting the dots in this one. Like seeing her where she
when
got
her
hand
cut fucking off. Ripped off. I was like that actually like. Yeah. Weirdly, like, I mean, of course, the children with their eyes ripped out was gruesome, but like, we didn't watch it happen in real time. Mm-hmm. So I'm more like, when her hand is like this and against the rock and just rips off, I actually had to look away.
Well, it reminded me a lot of like the Evil Dead remake. Yeah, where she had to pull her own hand off. And that's exactly what I thought about it. But like when she lost her hand, I was like watching where she was running and where her body was going to be when she died. And like, yeah, I knew from the very beginning that I'll give myself a lot of credit for this one. I knew from the very beginning that tree in the damn mall, because they were focusing on it way too much, that would be the hang tree.
I mean, you did say that, but like also don't jerk yourself off too much.
Hanging tree. Okay, got it. I don't know. Like, where would you even set the next ones? Would you make them like present day or?
Yes, I think they didn't make it in present day, which keeps like things open. So they could
Mhm.
even do like, what the first one was 94, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So they could do like 99, 2005, 2010, then 2020. Like they could if they wanted to. And I do think, I'm sure on purpose, they didn't do 80s because they could probably do 80s, and Netflix loves an 80s. And I would be on board with
Yeah.
their like neon lighting. I would love it. And like their 80s music.
Yeah.
I think I would just set it in the same town, but I would, again, I go back to like the Hellmouth ish of it all. Like set it in the same town, but just have it be like this shit. Because I mean, in the 94, it was like all of these murders occurred like every year. There was like people with their heads chopped off. So like that basically is like a town that is used to murders occurring. So like we could just continue that theme.
Yeah, no, I think it would be super easy to do. And you know, it would be really fun is the abandoned mall. If we end up at the abandoned mall somehow at some point in time, like, because I mean, the mall, nobody goes to malls anymore, really. So, like, it would be abandoned in Shadyside.
I just went to a mall on Friday.
My God, Ian goes to malls, guys. Ian.
It was the first time in a while.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it would be really cool. I want to see like a really cool, like abandoned house or like, I don't know, some creepy imagery or something from.
I mean,
from
there should be like a. Okay, now I'm already forgetting. Sunnyvale is the like good town, right?
Yes.
There should be like an abandoned like mansion in Sunnyvale that's like,
Oh, that would be good with like a big dome, like window in the foyer. I would love something like that. Because I mean, what comes to mind is like, do you ever watch those videos of like people going to explore like houses that like abandoned mansions that like everything is literally in place? They're like all over YouTube. Apparently, people just up and leave their mansions with everything inside. And
I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, YouTubers just go and like explore it, and it's like super creepy. But like that would be so cool, something like that.
Well, I told you that I used to explore abandoned places, right, with my friends.
Did you? I don't think I've ever heard you say that. No.
Yeah, we used to go to, especially when I was a teen, it was a lot easier because, like, I don't know, there weren't big rules on that back then. Now I feel like they probably have cameras everywhere and whatever. But there was a like mental institution that was like a new one, and literally you just had to park in the parking lot and walk through some trees, and then there was the old abandoned one that it used to be. And it was just like a very tall building that had a church attached to it. And you would crawl in through a window by the church and then walk through to get into the building. And it was like mad spooky. I used to go to places like that all the time as a teen, and I would get scared, but it would be like fun.
Yeah, we had in Tuscaloosa, we had an abandoned mental hospital. What was it called? It was called, and I'm not even going to remember the name, but there was an abandoned mental hospital that we would drive out to, and it was the middle of the woods, and like it was like right behind a church also, and it was just like we used to just go out there, and they had a children's ward that was super creepy, and like a basement in the children's ward that was like all flooded. It was just like insanely creepy. There was a lot of people out there doing drugs and stuff too.
Well, so one of the last times I went, the friend I was with got like really scared as we were in, and she was like, I want to go back. And then they were making her go back by herself. And I was like, don't make the really scared. Like I would be scared, but I'd be more scared going back by myself. So I would always stay. Yeah. But I was like, don't make her go by herself. Like I'll go with her. And I was like, let's not walk to the car. Like, cause it was like weird. It was like trees around it, but like clear land surrounding the place. So I was like, let's just stand outside. And then we realized there was other people there because we could see flashlights in the windows. And I was like, I don't love that. But then they heard our friends and they came running out, flashed their lights in our faces and went, are you the police? And I was like, do we look like the police?
Why are you running up asking if people are the police? Go hide or something.
And then they ended up just being like other teens that got scared because they thought the cops were there.
Yeah, I think the cops pretty much left that place alone. Because there was tons of people who used to go there. Like, I think with frats, they would haze a lot of their new pledges and bring them out there and make them like do a scavenger hunt out there. They had to like find stuff or they couldn't come back. So
sounds awful.
It sounds like a good movie.
Could you imagine me in that, Zach? I would be like, well, I'm not doing that. No.
Like, okay, well, you're out and find your own ride back.
Be like, great, I'll call someone.
Adam Strawn said some of the
Adam,
abandoned
hi
theme
Adam.
park videos on YouTube are my jam. Exactly. Those are so creepy. What if there's a theme park in Shady Side? That'd
Yeah.
be cool too. Saw a video about an abandoned airport where everything still works. Yeah, like all the stuff that are just like abandoned, but like everything's still in place is insanely creepy to me.
Yeah, I've seen those like I forget where it is. There's like an abandoned theme park that like is like fully almost functional still somewhere in Europe that I always see people like every few months. I feel like those pictures make the rounds on Twitter, and I always like I'm interested in looking at them.
Somebody also mentioned, let me scroll up a little bit. Somebody also mentioned maybe doing it in the 2008 with the financial crisis. Lots of abandoned shops, homes could be creepy. Yeah, something like that too. Like
Yeah.
I would
Steven,
want to, however we come back in here, I feel like Shady Side wouldn't just go perfect all of a sudden, you know? I feel like it would be it would still take a while because all of these people still have like their minds aren't changed, right? And so they're still in the mindset of like they grew up at Shady Side, they never leave Shady Side.
Right.
So I would still want to see Shady Side as kind of a
yes.
as kind of like a down on its luck town that has to kind of start making its own way now. So lots of abandoned stuff in Shady Side. It could be good. You know what I thought was going to happen whenever they Sam and Dina like came out of the cave and they were in Nick Good's house. I thought like some weird witchcraft happened and like that was Shady Side now. And I was like, don't do this to me. Don't do it.
Oh no. What I thought was like because they were like, what the hell? I thought it was gonna be like, oh, this is his mansion. There's gonna be fucking like spooky ghosts there. There's gonna be the killers congregating in his fucking house. And I was kind of surprised that felt a little that felt a little anticlimactic, but it's fine because I love the movie. But like it felt a little like I was expecting something when they got to the house. Because it felt like, all right, we assumed it was Nick Good's house, even though I understood why they didn't assume that. So I was just expecting like a jump or like maybe Nick Good's mother's with an axe or some shit, you know?
Yeah, and when they walked outside, I just kept thinking, somebody's gonna fucking see you. You're all bloody. They're gonna think you killed the sheriff. And
that's
sure
what I
enough,
thought was gonna happen.
The people across the street saw him,
but then they got hit by a truck, which that was a little dumb.
It was like I don't want to see like the town's luck flipped super quick. So if we do come back, I want to see it down on its luck still. I think it would be. I don't know.
Well, but I mean, but that was 94. So if we come back in present day, it should be flipped by that point.
I don't know. Maybe it was just abandoned. Maybe everybody kind of merged into Sunnyvale and Shady Side's just an abandoned side of town that everybody, you know, kids go to get spooked. That could be cool.
My brain thought you were going to say get high. I was like, oh, yes.
You'd get high there too. That's what would happen. There'd be the teens that are like, come on, guys. Don't be a nerd, Stacy. Or whatever the Gen Z names are. Addison. Sage.
I love when you talk as if you're like older than me.
I feel whenever I see Gen Zers, I feel super old. I'm like, oh gosh, it feels like 10 generations away.
You're almost Gen Z, dickhead.
I'm 1994. That's this movie.
Fucking kill me.
How old were you in 1994? 10?
11.
Oh my gosh, small man. Do you remember all the tales of Shady Side, Uncle Ian?
I do.
He was there. Years ago, there was a Farmer John's meatpacking here. Well, 2 kids disappeared, so they were called all the meat. Now every year there's a haunted house there. Like something like that would be cool too, right? Where something happened in the town, and so they're like kind of celebrating.
I've been to an abandoned farmhouse and it was fucking scary. So me and my friends would literally like research places like this because there's a magazine called Weird New Jersey that is about abandoned places in New Jersey and like fucking weird shit. It's been coming out forever, and like we still carry it at Barnes and Noble at my work. Like it's still coming out, and it's run by these 2 guys. I think they're brothers. Maybe they're not, but one of the places was this like abandoned farmhouse that the house had collapsed, but only half of it collapsed. So like half of it was still standing, the other half had collapsed. And I guess they had cleaned up what collapsed, but the half of the house was still standing. And it was so weird because the staircase was there and it looked like a dollhouse. But then the like barn was behind it, but it was locked, and the only way inside was to crawl in through the chicken coop.
Oh,
And I was like,
chicken cubes are creepy. Have you?
This is the horror movie where my head gets chopped off. Like, I'm not crawling in there. What are we doing? And everyone was like, it's fine, just crawl in the chicken. Like, because it's like, made for a chicken, but you can crawl through. And so everyone's crawling through, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm too scared. And then I was too scared being outside, so I went in.
Ian, and you would be the one killed. You're like the punk goth kid, you don't make it to the end. You're not the final girl.
I might be a final girl because
it depends on what year it's made. You're either going to end up in pastels at the end, or you're going to be a final girl. It's like it's one of those. But you're not making it out unscathed. Is what my point is. But like, I'm super afraid of chicken coops because did you ever watch that Angelina Jolie movie, The Changeling, about her like finding her kid who got kidnapped, and then like it wasn't really her kid? Well, that was based on a true story of this guy who used to kidnap a bunch of young boys, and he used to keep them in a chicken coop. And so that always scared me. Ever since I was a little kid, chicken coop scared me.
I didn't know that's where you're going with that, but okay.
Yeah, true crime. And then there's a mansion in like Germany or whatever that's like super abandoned. That's really creepy. I see it pop up on like Instagram every now and then. And then you've heard this one, Annalise Michelle. It was like what The Exorcism of Emily Rose was based on. Yeah. So her house that she was possessed in actually caught fire. Like I think within the last 10 years, maybe it caught fire. And like in the pictures of it on fire and stuff, you can see like the devil's face or something. And like that's super creepy. So there's a lot of ways they can go with this.
I feel like I do remember her house catching up. I remember it like going around on Twitter, but maybe I'm making that up.
Really weird. It's really weird. I don't know. I just want something like, what about an exorcism story in Shadyside? That would be cool too. I mean, I guess she was kind of possessed in this one, but like a full-on exorcist story. I don't know. I feel like everybody in Shadyside's kind of just like stuck in purgatory anyway.
I've been watching the TV show Evil. I didn't realize the new season's been going up on Paramount Plus, which I have access to only through my parents' cable. And I've been watching it, and there's like a couple different exorcism plot lines they do. I don't know if you would like the show, but you should give it a shot because it's like very horror infused and so weirdly infused for like a CBS hour drama, but like some of the shit is scary. And yeah, I do like that they've had a few different kinds of exorcisms. Like one, it was like, oh, there wasn't an exorcism. The guy was just like evil. And so he was a murderer. But then there was like an exorcism where it needed to happen. And then there's like one they're about to do in the second season that like, they think the person is a demon. So there's no exorcism to like, and I kind of like seeing different takes on that. Right.
Yeah, I think so. I think that could be cool. I don't know. There's just like so many tropes out there. There's so many different, like every story's pretty much been told. So it's going to be hard to do something that's like completely original, but I don't even need a story that's like completely original. I would actually really like to see them just do some R.L. Stine books and kind of adapt those stories that are already there. Because I don't think they did that with this one. I think this one was already kind of, it was like fabricated. So hold on. Going through some of these comments. At the end of my street was an abandoned set of flats. A tree was half inside, some windows, so used to use his fire escape. Broken window. I've been to the hospital from Halloween 2 for a VA appointment. Some of it is abandoned. It was for that's always weird to me. It's like when part of a building is like in use, and like the rest of it is like why? Like there's some mold going through the vents.
I remember there was like, I forget what TV. There's been like a million different doctor shows. There was some doctor show that was filming in a half abandoned hospital in North Jersey. And I remember being like, a half abandoned? Like, what the fuck? And they just like took over the wing that had been abandoned to film the show. And the rest of it was still a working hospital, which is so weird.
Most movies do that though, like with hospitals and stuff like that. They'll find like a bit, because I guess it's easy to just find an abandoned hospital and fix up like a couple hallways. In Halloween, and Rob Zombie's Halloween too, for the opening scene, they had an abandoned hospital and they just like fixed up like one floor of it. Just
that's what they do now for malls, right? Because a lot of malls are abandoned.
Oh yeah, like malls are. I think we talked about this last time too. Like malls are super easy to film in because they're just like everywhere now, and they're just all like pretty much abandoned. So let's see. I do want to do our like campfire stories though. I think this is like kind of setting up to be like a good one of those, you know, if we had stories based
I feel
on
like I've used them all.
these places that we're like talking about though, it'd be so creepy.
Oh my god, what if we did like a Ian and Zach investigate and we went to the places?
Oh my god, I would love it. I would love that.
I would be
I'd
so
all over
annoyingly
that shit.
scared, and you would be
I'd
so
be-
mad at me.
I don't know though, because I get really scared too. But the thing is, like, I'm one of those people that's like, well, I can't just stand here. You have to keep walking. Like, but I would be like, when I go through haunted houses, I'm very close to whoever I'm next to. Like, I have to be like right up on them. So we'll start with the haunted house. I feel like that's good for 1 year, and then the next year we can kind of work our way up to like investigating.
You would be. I feel like you would be so annoyed if I was like, "Can I hold on to you?" You'd be like, "Get away from my shit."
Imagine a little series, though, a mini series of My Bloody Judy Investigates. You know, something like that. That would be cool. We'd have to set it up really funny too. They'd have to have like comedic elements where like one of us is the psychic and the other one's like the
Although we're not really doing
detective. Well, it's still we're still going in there into the place or whatever, but we have to have a setup. We have to have a setup here.
I like that you're giving it a plot.
Oh my gosh, I'm already thinking about it. We're gonna do it. I really want to before we leave this house, like do a faux documentary, like a faux like haunted house documentary on this. Kind of like, you know, you remember those hauntings that used to come on, like A&E and stuff. I'd like to do something like that for my house before I leave it. It'd be fun to see what you two do haunted houses. Yeah, I'm telling you, let's do it. When you finally do read the Fear Street Cheerleaders, can you do a review of it? Yes. If anybody can find it, you don't even have to send it to me. Find it for like a reasonable price and send me the link.
Or send it to him. I will say send it to him if you want.
I can buy it.
Did you even look at that picture I sent you? There was like a bunch of books that were 3 in 1. They might have been some of the trilogies.
No, I did look at them because I've been thinking about that series for a good bit. So I was looking at it and hoping one of them were there because I would have had you just get it.
Now I feel like I can't send you shit if the one thing I sent you didn't get to you.
New Jersey to Oklahoma thing. I see you something too, and it said Denver.
That's true. You did send me something and it didn't.
Nothing. So.
Well, I'm glad the first package I sent you didn't get lost because I would have been real pissed about that.
I know, right? All the books and stuff. He got me a signed copy of Pete Buttigieg's book. I'm a big fan of Pete Buttigieg, and he was kind enough to look past his disdain for Pete Buttigieg and send me a book from him.
I had to get that from another. I had to like have it saved from another store too.
I love that book. I have it next to my bed. I like read a little bit every now and then.
Well, like though it's weird the way like it only happens at the holidays. We get in a bunch of signed copies, but even like the stores, we don't know what we're getting sent to. It's just like what we get is what we get. And I wasn't there the day we got them, and we only every store gets very random. Like you might get 2, you might get 10, and we only got a few of the Pete books. And the only reason I saw that we had one is because someone bought the last one the first day I worked after we put them out, and I was like, wait. And I said to the woman, I was like, where'd you find this? I want to buy this for my friend. She's like, oh, it was the last one. And I was like, ah! So I called called the other stores in the area. And one of my old managers that works at one of the stores, I was like, please hold this for me.
It's much appreciated. We're lucky. Which one did you get, Alistair? You got Alistair. It was
the Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson. That's right. Yes.
I know what my boys like.
Mm-hmm. I want the first Evil, but I want it signed by the cheerleader in the book. You got to figure that out.
You want it signed by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who
by the cheerleader in the book.
Put her in the next Fear Street movie, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I know. Gosh, yes, let's do it. She should be
like a Jillian Jacobs character, who's like the one that survived.
Sarah, your kids are getting older. They're gonna be into this shit. Do it.
I like that you're talking to her as if she's watching us.
She is watching. She watches all of our live streams.
She's like, oh, those 2 gays that always bring me up every time they're together.
Whenever we pop on, I just have it rigged that her laptop screen just pops up to us.
What did you think of the thing that I thought might have bothered you was the fact that once we got to like 1994 part 2, did it bother you that no one was really murdered?
I didn't even really notice that. No.
Okay. I thought that might bother you.
Did it bother you?
No, I was at that point, I very much felt like I just don't want any more of these characters getting murdered. But I was positive that Jillian Jacobs and the janitor dude were going to get murdered because, like,
Yeah.
they felt, not that I wanted them to, but they felt kind of like the extra characters, especially with the janitor just like coming back randomly. I mean, I liked him, but you know, he like came back at the end. So I was like, oh, they're adding some cannon fodder here. That's what this is.
He was in the trailers too, and so I thought he was going to be a bigger character than he ended up being. I thought he was going to, I don't know, he's going to do something bigger, but I wasn't a huge fan of the big mall scene at the end. Like I it didn't really do much for me. Yeah, it was fun, but like it didn't do a whole lot for me. I think it should have been Ziggy versus Nick Good too.
Yes, I would agree with that. But I mean, it almost kind of was, right? Like she kind of went to face him, but like, I mean, think about it. She's not really going to overpower, unfortunately, this like trained like sheriff probably.
I don't know. I feel like it still didn't explain all the fucking alarm clocks that she has, but like, I feel like she should have a little bit of training there, right?
Right, like it doesn't have to be full Laurie Strode, but like a little bit.
Or like I still like don't get like why she was so afraid though, because was she afraid of the monsters coming back after her?
Yeah,
but like they weren't going to, were they?
Well, but the thing was, what they thought was the monsters come out. Like, don't forget, her total thought was what we thought, that the monsters came after anyone who came into contact with like Sarah Fier's shit, right? And if like the blood got on you, then you were going to be murdered. So she was expecting them to like be coming for, even though that wasn't the case.
Okay.
Although I guess technically it would be the case, because weren't they like, oh, the monsters just want to kill whoever knows about Sarah Fier?
That's where I kind of got confused. It was like whoever knows about Sarah Fier, whoever was the shady side, or whoever, like, you know, X, Y, and Z. It kept changing because in 1978 he was going after all the shady siders, the Axeman. So it was like,
right. And then in 94 he was only going after.
Yeah, so it did kind of change up there. Like still I'm saying like the rules are like, I feel like they're well plotted out, but I need to be able to map them out. With this, okay, so and I don't want to get into like spoilers or anything for it, but like we're reading, me and Ian and Alistair are reading the Final Girl.
I thought you meant Fear Street. I was like, we've been spoiling it.
No, the Final Girl support here. I have it actually right here. I'm using it.
Oh, I was about to say I have it right here too.
Like Grady Hendrix, the Final Girl support group. I want the other cover. There's another cover to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a blue chair. I want that one. But this one, because there's so many Final Girls in it, and there's only 6, but like I've had to like write it out, like who's who and like who's goes to what movie franchise and stuff like that. And I feel like with Fear Street, I should have been writing notes.
I have noticed it's like very specific. Like, I mean, it's not Freddy, it's not but it is like basically those characters.
Yes, like all of the Final Girls are named after the actresses that played those Final Girls, I think. Almost.
Oh, really?
Not all of them. Because Marilyn is based on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that was played by Marilyn Burns. You have Adrian, who would have been Friday the 13th, and that's Adrian King, who narrates the book. Yeah, and you have other ones. There's Julia Campbell, who is Sydney Campbell from Scream. The Halloween girl, I can't find her last
Campbell
name.
From Scream.
Yeah, Julie. What's her last name? Sydney Campbell.
Prescott.
Who the fuck is Campbell? Is there a Campbell in Scream? Who's Campbell? Nev Campbell. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Nev Campbell. Okay. I knew I was fucking up. Yes, Nev Campbell.
But why is she Julie? Why is Julie Nev Campbell?
I don't know why she's Julia. Maybe just try not to get sued or something like that. But Campbell's in there, so that's like still her name. And then there is who else? The Halloween one is the only one that's tripping me up because her name is Danny, but I don't remember what her last name is, and I can't find it in here. So, and I don't think it's like Danny Curtis or Danny Strode. So I'm confused about that one.
Zach, that's like how in my horror novel I named everyone after like strong female characters I love.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do stuff like that. I like all the callbacks to it. I think for some people it might get annoying, but I really enjoy it.
I know some people do like fall very strongly on like no, callbacks are annoying, and I get it, but I always like them.
You know Riley Sager, right? So Riley Sager, did you see him call out Grady Hendrix on the day his book came out?
No,
He said it was so funny because Riley Sager had a book called Final Girls, right? So he like tweeted a gif of Sidney Prescott going, "Don't fuck with the original," or whatever. And I'm like, don't do this, Riley Sager. Don't do it. You can't compare. And he got dragged, but he like I guess he apologized or something like that. But
well, I wonder if maybe they're like friendly and because like you know what I mean. Sometimes like on Twitter.
Oh no,
like,
he was being shady because he had to apologize for it. But yeah, I mean Grady Hendrix is on another level, man. I like his. What would you rank his books so far? Have you finished this one?
No, I'm only like 60 pages in. But
so
I do
where you're at in it, where would you rank it in among his books?
I mean, I can tell that I'm gonna really like it. It just, will probably depend on like the climax and the ending. But My Best Friend's Exorcism is my favorite. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires is my second favorite.
Really?
Horror Store is my third. And this feels like it'll definitely be above Horror Store, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't tell if I'm gonna like it more than Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. How about you?
I'm not sure yet. So Southern Book Club's
You're
Guide
done,
to Slaying,
right?
yes, Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, I think is my number one. Absolutely. It's just like, and it was the first book I ever read by him. So like it was just so compelling. And then Best Friend's Exorcism is definitely number two, but I can't tell if this is going to be number two or if that's going to be number two still, because I really enjoyed that one too. But I didn't think I was going to like Best Friend's Exorcism when I first started it. I wasn't into like the beginning of it, but it was so good by the end. So I don't know yet. I don't know. And then Horror Store was fun. It was just like not, anything serious. It was just like a fun thing. Actually, when I was listening to Horror Store, I was listening to it while I was going back and forth between Winnie's chemo treatments. And I kept thinking of like you in Barnes and Noble. Like this was just Ian in Barnes and Noble.
I would have been the old lady that gets murdered. Well, that isn't murdered that she goes back for, but it's probably dead.
I know they're all like just missing, but no, his books are definitely worth the read. Everybody, if you haven't kind of gone into,
I actually the other one just came out in paperback when this came out in hardcover. The Sell Your Soul or whatever with the girl with the guitar that came out in paperback. So I was thinking of picking that up soon because even Horror Store, which I've liked least, it's still like a good read. So yeah,
it's like if you were to watch a scary movie, right? Yeah. Like even the ones that are just like an hour and 10 to 20 minutes. Yes. Like Alistair listened to that one and I listened to it like on and off with him between like naps. And I liked it, so I would like to go back and read everything that I missed, like just reread it, because I do think I would like it. I just don't like the cover, and I'm one of those guys who judges a book by its cover, and I just don't like the cover for that book. Not a very good one.
Yeah, the We Sold Our Souls one is kind of.
It's just like I'm not into like and I think there's another cover to it too. I think actually Alistair got another cover to it, but like there's one cover that's always at Barnes and Noble and it's like the Rolling Stone-ish cover.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think it's just so I'm not a big fan of that.
But we
Brad Harper said, yes. Brad Harper said this is my first Grady book. Yes. Wait, I see the cover you're referring to. Yes. On my shelf.
Did you see Roxy Bell just said they checked Amazon and the first is on $9. Is $9 on Amazon.
Which first?
The Cheerleaders.
On Amazon.
Quick, get it now. We can watch you.
I'm about to watch some motherfucker in the chat.
This is somebody's kink.
I know some motherfucker in the chat's gonna get it first. The first evil. Okay. R.L. Stein, the first evil. What? That's so cool. Okay, I'm getting it. Paperback. Hells yeah, man. Thursday, July 22nd. It's not coming on today. Or it's already the 19th. Okay. I'm gonna order
it. This is Zach.
I'm so excited. Okay. So it should be here this week then.
Wait, can we say, since we're talking about Grady Hendrix, can we say the thing?
That's on you. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, so I haven't said anything.
What do you mean you don't know if you're allowed to? I'm asking
I don't
you.
know if I'm allowed to give exclusives.
He is going to be coming on our show.
He's gonna be coming on My Bloody Judy.
Yeah.
I don't get starstruck for a lot of people unless it's somebody I'm like really into, and I'm very into Grady Hendrix, and so I'm gonna be very starstruck when I see him. I have a lot of questions.
I'm gonna blow up your spot a little bit. You get nervous doing those things.
Oh, I get nervous 100%. Starstruck is a whole different thing.
Right,
like I'm going to fanboy over Grady.
All right, well, you gotta relax. You can't fanboy too much.
I'm gonna say, excuse me, I have a question on page 133.
There's actually been times when I haven't paired people with celebrities on Slayer Fest because I'm like, nope, this person will fan out too much. So I can't have them together. I'm
going to try to keep it cool, but I still this is my one chance to ask a question if I have one. So I'm going to figure out my good question.
Well, I've been the one emailing him and he's very nice, very chill.
Yeah. And then we're also going to have Jimmy Champagne come on, who's a horror YouTuber on YouTube. Also very starstruck by him.
God, I'm gonna have to get it together.
We're gonna be covering Halloween movies because we're gonna be covering Halloween movies leading up to Halloween Kills in October, and so I'm super excited for those, y'all. I don't think we're gonna do all of them. I don't think we'll have time to do all of them, but we're gonna do. I think Grady Hendrix is coming on for what H2O. He's gonna be covering H2O with us, and then I think Jimmy Champagne's gonna cover Halloween 4 with us.
Oh, that's funny because Grady liked H2O or 4. Those were the ones he wanted to come on.
That's
for.
what. Jimmy Champagne said 2 or 4, and I said, okay, out of those 2, which one do you want? He said 4. So 4 is like really good. I think you haven't seen 4. Okay, 4 and 5. I'm so excited to watch those with you. We'll have to do a movie night for those.
In the middle, I missed a lot. Like I know I've seen I've seen like a few of the like other random ones, but I don't know that which is the one with Paul Rudd.
6. Same timeline. That it's the original timeline still.
Well, all of them are the original timeline, right?
No, because I think H2O is the second timeline officially. If you're counting the third one, I guess that could be considered a second timeline. But if you remove that, the H2O would be a second timeline because it kind of erases everything for after 2. I know you're not a big fan of an erasure.
I'm not.
It's okay. I know you like H2O though, so you haven't noticed it that much, have you?
I didn't see the other one, so it didn't fucking matter.
Well, there was a scene in H2O where, because originally it was a Kevin Williamson treatment who did Scream.
Yeah.
Like you know that. But everybody else, yeah, he did Scream too. And so he did a treatment for H2O, and in his original treatment, there was a moment where like somebody's doing a paper on Michael Myers in class, and they bring up Jamie Lloyd, which is Laurie Strode's daughter in 4 and 5 and 6. And she has to like go to the bathroom and she like throws up and stuff like that. But then like I guess that was cut out and they just ignored her altogether. So she's a very charming little girl though. Very charming. She like totally owned that series. Yeah.
Is that the one that was played by what's her face? Danielle
Harris. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she came back. I was really happy when she came back for the remake of Halloween too. That's cool.
We're not covering those ones, are we?
At some point, Ian. At some point, maybe for next year. But we'll have to figure out which. He's doing the monsters.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of fucking rape in it too.
No, there can't be. I don't think they'll let him do that. I think he's kind of been like his career's kind of had a downslope, and this is his like one chance to kind of get back up there again. I think he's gonna follow some studio rules, and I don't think for the monsters they're gonna let him do all that. But you know, I think he's vastly underrated. I think
underrated. He's like underrated. Very popular.
I don't think he's as popular. I think a lot of people shit on him.
When House of a Thousand Corpses came out, literally every straight dude I worked with at the movie theater was like, couldn't stop jerking off about it. And I remember being like, all right, I'll see this. And then being like, that was it.
And along the way, he has lost popularity. And that's where I'm thinking he's underrated. For the Halloween movies, a lot of people give him shit. A lot of Halloween fans, maybe let me phrase it like that. A lot of Halloween fans give him shit for his remakes because whatever. I think his problem is he oversaturates things with like fucking shit and like rape and
Yes.
a this and a that. But he's got like a really great cinematography style. He hires really good cinematographers, and like his storylines are like very solid. It's just that oversaturation. Because Halloween 2, I'm really excited to show you that one because I don't think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna think it's just like a Rob Zombie movie. But I really want to talk about the trauma part of it with you, because he does like a deep exploration of trauma in that movie. None of the Halloween movies that ever do.
Remind me, this might be stupid. Is the main character isn't Laurie Strode, right? Isn't it? She named something different. Oh, it is.
No, she's Laurie Strode, and so like in the second one, she's like really fucked up and like an alcoholic, and like which is like H2O, but like if this goes even deeper, like she's really fucked up. And it's only like a year or two after those events. So like,
I thought the second one was like the second Halloween, like it was like a continuation. Like, oh, she's in the hospital.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yes. Okay. Well, we'd have to watch it. I can't give spoilers, but yes. Because I think there was a director's cut and there was the theatrical release. And the theatrical release was 1 year later, and the director's cut, he moved it to 2 years later. But we hardly ever see, I mean, other than like screaming stuff, it's mostly like what we're seeing now is what, like 20 years later, 40 years later, rather than like right after kind of thing. Which is like something I'm a little bit more interested in seeing, somebody right after their trauma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're interested in seeing the book I wrote, Zach?
Yes. You'll have to get a final girl to read it, because that was such a great idea. Good job, Grady Hendrix.
Gail Weathers or bust.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, what if she did it?
Right.
You just have to write in a lot of motherfuckers. Okay, let's read some of these. Cover referred to, Devil Rejects is Zombie's best film. Devil's Rejects is really hard for me to watch. I really like it, and I think it's like it is his best film to date, but it's very hard for me to watch.
Wait, is Devil's Rejects the first one or House of Thousand Corpses? Which one came first?
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay,
Devil's
because
Rejects
to me they're the same
second.
fucking movie.
No. Devil's Rejects is a whole different thing. It is its own thing in horror altogether. And then he just did 3 from Hell, which is a sequel set 10 years later.
And that
The Devil's Rejects, well, and that is exactly the same. That's just like him copying and pasting Devil's Rejects.
Didn't all of them have Sherry Moon Zombie and her like
and the Munsters
laugh?
Is gonna have Sherry Moon Zombie too. He puts his wife. The one thing Robert Zombie gonna do is put his wife in every single movie he makes.
I mean, I get it. I would Kevin Smith puts his daughter in a lot of his movies and his wife. I get it, but I just don't think Sherry Moon Zombie's very good.
It's okay. I don't mind it. Did you ever watch? You never watched Lords of Salem, did you? Yeah, that one. She's the main character in that one.
Is that not one of his movies, or is that?
It is. No, it is. Yeah. Yep, that's what he'll do.
I mean, like, I would want to put all. I always dreamcast my my like books, and I'm always like, who would I like?
I'm telling you, man, Reese fucking Witherspoon in Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I see it. It is her fucking book. Can you see her in that? You can see
she would be great in it.
Oh my gosh!
And I feel like it wouldn't be that too far off from like her range. I mean, she's really good, but like, 100%. Right? It wouldn't be that. It's just like, also there happens to be vampires that are real. Like,
she already has and she already has like a Southern twang because she's from the South, but all she would have to do is lean into it a little bit more. And like, I feel like Reese Witherspoon, like most actresses, when they get a little bit older, they're kind of not as stuck up about what roles they're going to take. They're not after like, the Pride and Prejudice anymore. Like, they're kind of like after things that sound like a good project. And I feel like if she read this book, she would be into it. Because even my mom, who doesn't like horror, I made her read that book and she liked it.
I was trying to get my mom to read it. She was like, maybe, but my mom was worried it would scare her.
It's the Southern ladies, though. Like, even without the horror in there, like, they're so compelling as characters and as a group that I just like, it makes the whole book.
I still think that scene where he's on the roof, even though we know it's the vampire, like, the idea of like, I mean, you live in the suburbs in a house as well. Like, it can feel very empty when you're alone. And the idea of like hearing something on the roof and you just hear that it's a person walking, like that is very scary to me. And that scene like really scared me.
Well, I've told you before, I've told you that the thing that scares me the most is something that's not supposed to be there. And so somebody walking on your roof is not supposed to be there, obviously. So that's fucking scary. And like, I don't know. There's a lot of things in the suburbs that kind of scare me because there are people all around, but like, you don't know what those people's intentions are either.
Well, it's funny because I lived in New York for almost 10 years and I get more scared in this house than I ever did. Like, it's weird, like living, even if like my roommate was gone for a long time, it's like fine because you're in an apartment and there's a million people above you and below you and outside in the street. So there's just always noise. But I think in the suburbs, that's why it's a little bit spookier because it's like there's not always noise. So if you hear it like weird random noise, that is spooky.
Yeah. Did you see that? Okay, so real quick, and then we're gonna go back to Southern Book Club. Did you see that this one is picked up by HBO Max? That's cool,
Charlize
right?
Theron is like involved.
I like her, but like she's just I don't want her for this. I don't want her for this. In my mind, it's really hard for me not to picture the girls that they're based off of. So I'm like, Charlize Theron is not any of them.
I do think that would be really cool if, like, I mean, we know those women can act. Like, I mean, they haven't gotten roles in a while, but they were good.
Pay them enough and bring them all into the same fucking franchise. Like, fucking do it, man. Even Heather in this book, named after Heather Langenkamp, who played, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, do it. It would be so cool.
And I feel like those women would be down. Like, even if
you would not have to pay them very much. Jamie Lee Curtis is probably the one you'd have to pay the most.
She probably would not do it, but I think the rest of the women
she probably wouldn't. But still try to get her.
But you know what I mean?
You know what?
Even if like, okay, the character that's like Laurie Strode, we can't get who played Laurie Strode. All right, then get someone else who's like a recognizable final. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be the exact person from the franchise because some of them might not do it, but like just cast them as like iconic final girls. And even if Julia's the youngest one, right?
Oh goodness, I don't have age down now. I don't have age
down. I think
Julia I should have wrote it down.
I think I remember her like saying the most recent addition to the group was Julie, I think.
Yeah.
So even if like they cast someone, younger who maybe was in like random 2 horror movies, right? Sure, that's fine. Like, I don't know. I just think that could really work because that would be very exciting.
I think so. I just think it would be an event because it's just something we haven't seen, never happened. And I think a lot of people would tune in to watch just all of these final girls in one.
Do you remember when Scream Queens was being promoted? That's like, they kind of made it seem like this is what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like I remember reading like, oh, it's going to be Jamie Lee Curtis, like helping some final girls and me being like, oh, that's a cool idea. But then that wasn't what it was.
Yeah. I just fucking Scream Queens sucked, man. You want to talk about candy horror? That's candy horror.
Not even candy is bad.
That's horrible. Okay, so somebody said, I'm like really into this fucking idea now, and we have to make it happen. Everybody in the chat, all the like 25 people in the chat need to make it happen with this. Somebody 35. Said Reese served in, I don't say the number, Reese served in Big Little Lies in the morning show, but that genre shift would be amazing. I fucking think so. I think Patricia is Reese Witherspoon's role. It just is. Guys, we all have to go and flood her DMs and say, please read Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires and be in the movie. Let's do it.
Listen to us.
Fucking team up. You have to listen to the gays, okay? We should have done it during June. She can't say no during June.
Then it's almost
I think we could like, all we got to do is make her read it. I think like, an actress who doesn't do a bunch of horror and then does like one horror project, she'll probably get a lot of recognition for doing that.
Yeah.
It's like Jennifer Lawrence. Remember when she did the like House at the End of the Street or whatever? I remember that was like a big deal though at the time because they were marketing it as like Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games in a horror movie, I
mean, that's like when Sarah Michelle Gellar did like, right? Like, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Because Buffy was looked at as something different. Like it wasn't like a horror show, even though it was. And then when she's going on and did like The Grudge was a big deal
because she's on the cover of Entertainment Weekly for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Reese Witherspoon, she's got to do it. We've all got to do it. Are we going to agree, everybody? Are we in? I need everybody to say it. We do. Everybody has to say it.
I'm saying yes.
Yes. Somebody said Jennifer Love Hewitt, Nev Campbell, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Who am I missing?
I don't know about Jennifer. Jennifer Love Hewitt's a good Scream Queen. I think she was fine. Her character was like shitty, but like she was. I think she's a good actress for horror.
Yeah,
Reese wouldn't necessarily do that. Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she? Reese
Don't
seems
make Zach
like
mad.
Reese seems like she's having a lot of fun with her acting roles these days, right?
I mean, she has her own production company. She has her own book club. She's got a lot going on. I don't know that she gives a shit about a horror book, but I would love to see
It's not just a horror book, it's a book about friendship.
That's what I think of that.
Okay, so we got a couple people saying yes, they're in. Ian's in, I'm in. We're all gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. And then when it happens, we're gonna get the credit for it. We're gonna say, hey, we did this.
Right. That's what'll happen.
And then Sarah's gonna want to work with us. We see you, Sarah. Are you in, Sarah? Are you in?
Imagine like
what if she just fucking commented real quick? No, she said yes. No, the only thing she said yes.
Oh, Alistair's here. Hi, Alistair.
Yeah, he said a couple things. He's over there right there. He brought me candy.
I mean, I figured that wasn't someone else handing you candy.
You don't know who the fuck it was.
You're right. I don't know.
It's the suburbs. It's the suburbs.
I also live in the suburbs, dickhead.
And you don't get handed random bags of candy?
No.
From your window, from the neighborhood children? Just like,
God. You are hyper tonight.
I am hyper. Okay. We are going to start wrapping up here, though. Yes, everybody, I need y'all to go and message Reese Witherspoon on like Instagram. I'm assuming her Twitter DMs are closed. On Instagram, go comment on her like latest post and go DM her to read that book and to be in the movie. We're all going to do it.
God.
We're all going to do it. But thank you guys so much for checking in. You know, Fear Street was great, wasn't it? It was a fun time. It was a fun, like we did a little trilogy of live streams and it was a good time. We'll have that Campfire Stories live coming soon. I don't know when we'll do that, but we'll figure it out. And then we will be starting My Bloody Judy's summer camp very soon. So
I was like, when? Do we have a date for that?
We don't. We're just gonna fucking do it. It's just gonna pop up when it pops up.
We're gonna have to talk about some dates after this.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your night. And we love you so much, don't we, Ian?
We do.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
I don't know how to stop.